Sorry, I'm just having a full-on bruh moment with the end of that episode. Like, seriously, what a way to make me kind of care about the flash forward stuff. And honestly, I don't even know where to start with this Arrow review for episode 3. I was about to say episode 4, but I'm getting it mixed up with the Flash. By the way, if you haven't seen my Flash review, for those who watch the Flash on the same night, check it out. I have uploaded it a few hours before this. But Jesus, I want to say all kinds of words right now, but seriously, I literally just got back from seeing the episode. This is kind of like a fresh reaction review. That usually is the case, but this is seconds after me seeing that ending. And I thought this episode for the most part was like a good episode, but I was thinking like, as much as I'm enjoying these tomb raiding elements, seeing Talia go again, Thea Queen and everything like that, I was kind of thinking, is there going to be something? And then we got that moment in the flash forwards, which, I'm sorry to some people who really like these characters, but I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to cover it again in this review. And then that Zoe thing happened. I thought, okay, wow, that's quite a wild card. Plus the flash forwards I felt weren't as bad this episode, but I don't really care about them usually with the plot and what they kind of do with it. But this episode I thought, okay, it's a little bit better. But then that happened, and then that happened, and we'll get to that moment with the present day stuff, which I knew was happening. We all knew from behind the scenes stuff, Mia and present day stuff would be happening, but I thought that would be during the crossover or something towards that point, not in episode 3 of Arrow. Holy crap. So I'm going to go over the main notes of the episode, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, stuff like that. But then I just kind of want to talk about the revelation that Oliver learned about the Monitor in terms of kind of causing crisis potentially. And I said last episode, and probably long before that I knew there was something off with the Monitor. I'm not saying I'm the only person to say that, but what I am trying to articulate is I've been expecting some kind of twist on Crisis to do with potentially Marnovu, the Monitor, not the Anti-Monitor, but this isn't always copy and paste. That's one thing I always like to say. Yes, they're doing Crisis on Infinite Earths, excuse me, adjusting myself, but it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be surprises. Obviously, it's not going to be a clone of the comic book. There's no way they could clone that anyway. But wow. Sorry if this is a bit formulaic of my reviews, but I'm still kind of like withdrawing from the adrenaline rush that I just went through with that ending, because holy crap, that was so good. So anyway, I know this is a little bit late into the video, but go ahead and like this video, especially if you thought that ending was cool. I can't wait to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below, and of course subscribe for more Arrow reviews like this every single week. To stay up to date with it. But let's start with the beginning of this episode, or should I just kind of say maybe a little bit of last episode. We knew, and I spoke about it a lot, that there's something off with the Monitor. That whether he's gathering these dwarf star particles or whatever he needs from Oliver, and then the shadiness with Lila Michaels, it's just like, you could argue he's trying to prepare for Crisis, but there's definitely a little bit more to it than that. There's 100% shadiness going on there that they presented to the viewers or the audience. So we were supposed to think something's up, and within itself anyway, last episode, Oliver wanted to look more into the Monitor because he couldn't quite fully 100% trust him. Sure, he's a cosmic being who's warned about somebody far more powerful coming than just him, a bad version of him, essentially, in a way. Obviously, that's what kind of the Anti-Monitor is, and that's kind of what this whole episode is about, but it required Oliver going to Nanda Parbat, and that is when, at the beginning of this episode, he runs into Speedy, and they kind of start fighting each other, and then it's, oh, lo and behold, like, you're my sister, and you're my brother, like, it was cool, and I really enjoyed seeing Thea Queen back on screen. I'm not even trying to rhyme, but no, seriously, it was good seeing her. It was also a bit weird at the same time. I knew there would be a lot of kind of backstory just shoved in there in terms of how, Nyssa is in the Highland, and after they destroyed the Lazarus Pits, she had some League business to take care of, so that's why it's not Nyssa in this episode. It's full on Talia, which is welcome anyway. I enjoyed Talia in Arrow anyway. So what I'm going to do now is kind of just skim through it a bit, because I think I said this in my last review, like, the way Arrow is structuring its episodes as of right now, the past couple of them, is that apart from the flash forward separate scenes that really do split it up, and to be fair, there were Diggle and Lila scenes, we'll talk about those as well, it does feel like a constant stream of plot. And I'm not saying that previous seasons of Arrow weren't like that, but it feels like one big overall conversation rather than, okay, this happened, that happened. It was more or less one big tomb raid as we know. So after meeting Talia al Ghul, she revealed that if the League has any information concerning Mar-Novu, aka the Monitor, it should be found underneath the League stronghold, which was, as we know, wrecked, but there are some catacombs there, and apparently it all has to do with the Chronicles of Al-Fatih. I'm kind of forgetting already the name of an earlier Raish al Ghul, or Raz al Ghul, or Raish al Ghul. It's been pronounced so many different ways in different iterations, but whatever. Now, according to legend, he was apparently bestowed with primordial knowledge by one of the sky gods, and apparently as a result of that, information on the Monitor may very well be in the room where Talia's father, the Raish al Ghul that we met, would have kept some documents and stuff like that. So all of this throughout the episode was more or less one big treasure hunt with, even Athena got involved, and she was trying to kind of stop them, because not only was it a great offense taking them to the crypt and stuff like that, but she also kind of in turn was like, hey, if you guys go in there first, maybe I can wield the Ring of Raz and the sword of a previous Raz, and that will wield control over any League member. So that was kind of her motivation this episode. But along throughout this journey in the episode, I was thinking, apart from like the niceties and how cool it is to see Thea and Oliver back together again, and Talia, I wasn't underwhelmed, but I was thinking maybe this is just going to be an episode where it's like, this is cool, a bit of cool tomb raiding, not the bad, Thea Queen's back, but like there's not going to be any big shocking thing. I wasn't even looking for the magnitude of the shock we got at the end, but I was thinking, is there not going to be something a bit more? Sure, we're going to learn a bit more about the Monitor, but even then, after learning what we did about the Monitor, I was thinking, like, not an average episode, but I was kind of expecting a little bit more, but man, oh man, we got that. Now, as far as Lila and Diggle moments this episode, I quite enjoyed their scenes together. The whole premise for them this episode was to save Bronze Tiger's family, because as you will probably know, Connor Hawke, who was eventually adopted by Diggle and Lila, is currently with his mother Sandra, but they've been taken by a guy who Bronze Tiger once killed to save Lila. Like, long story short, they end up saving him. I did enjoy the Lila and Diggle moments because, we've had moments of this throughout various seasons with those two kicking ass together, but this episode was truly, in terms of segregations of scenes, like those two were being badass together. And I was kind of hoping, though, for a bit of like information on Lila being exposed for being Harbinger. I know some of you guys were saying, like, what if it's a different Lila, but I definitely don't think it's meant to be. I think this will add a lot of drama and like wow factor into the fact that Lila has known about Mar-Novu, aka the Monitor, like for a long time, and that will add, as I just said, a lot of drama between the fact that John and Lila have had secrets before, and now she's known about this cosmic god being who might in fact bring about crisis. That's, to say the least, is going to cause some problems. So we didn't actually get anything about that. And then at the very least, I was kind of hoping for, I know this sounds messed up, but maybe for Connor Hawke's mother to die in the rescue attempt, and then they felt obligated to look after little Connor Hawke. But that didn't happen either. But yeah, I don't know, maybe that's got to come, but I feel like if it's going to come in a later episode this season, why didn't you just do it when you try to save Bronze Tiger's family? But this is what I mean, unless I just went into every single detail along the way about the booby traps and things like this. That was more or less everything to the, tomb raiding storyline with Oliver, Talia and Thea. One thing I will say is that I'm glad Thea didn't really best Talia al Ghul in a fight, even though she did. And it was a bit of like a very lucky way of catching her in that chain. I'm glad that she didn't win in the combat fight, because I don't think this is nitpicky in saying that. Granted, Thea is a badass. She's been trained by Malcolm Merlin, who's also been trained back in his day, and blah, 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 and Oliver. But I don't feel like it would just be wrong fan service, I feel, if she would have defeated Talia, somebody who's trained since she was a little girl in the League of Assassins. There's just no way you can, I don't believe that she would be able to beat her. And that kind of ended with them wanting to start, instead of a League of Assassins, a League of Heroes. And I thought, I was like, okay, it's kind of cool, like a little League of Heroes. It's like a nice ending and continuation to put in our minds of what Thea Queen is now going on to do. I'm guessing with this League of Heroes, they're going to continue battling the Thanatos Guild, even though Athena seemed to get crumbled under some rocks. But let's get to the very, 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 very interesting stuff that I've just wanted to talk about in this whole video so far. So what they learned out of all of this in terms of the monitor, which is not as much as what I expected, but apparently Alpha Tyr was visited by a god who possessed power to see all that is and all that will be. So makes sense. The monitor can see the future and, you know, what will come. He's seen Oliver die, blah, blah, blah. You get the drift. But he believed that if he failed to keep the balance between good and evil, this god will bring forth the end of times and the annihilation of all things. And that's when Thea and Oliver go on to speak about how Marnovu is not trying to prevent what's going to happen because he's going to be the one that causes it, or at least what they're interpreting. So I don't see why they would go about saying all of this if it was just going to be a misinterpretation. So I'm guessing this is confirmation that Marnovu, I mean, at least from what, this is just the confusing thing, because I don't think they're going to go with such a big twist that, you know, Marnovu, the monitor, is actually the anti-monitor or will become the anti-monitor. That would be quite a big change. Quite a big change. I don't think they're going down that kind of wild theory route. If they did, then Jesus. Because as far as I'm aware, there is an anti-monitor out there who's sending this antimatter. It's very confusing because, you know, the reason why I spoke with such, you know, interest about the end of Earth 2 and Oliver blaming himself for that, because he literally did say, you know, I ignored the orders of a cosmic being and as a result Earth got blah blah blah. You get what I'm trying to say there. But then when he was speaking to Lila at the end of the episode, he said, the monitor said to Lila that it was a necessary sacrifice. Now why would the monitor say that if he's just, you know, being like, oh, you know, the anti-monitor's antimatter hit that Earth and, you know, dissolved it. So, you know, I, in my personal opinion, even though I don't agree with that, it was like a good sacrifice for Oliver to like get on and stay in line with saving the multiverse. Like, I just don't buy it. I don't, you know, why would he say it's a good sacrifice or it was a worthy one to keep Oliver in line, unless he might have somehow encouraged that antimatter. Do you know what I mean? I've been thinking amongst those lines. And now in this episode, we get some kind of half confirmation that apparently the monitor might be the one to kind of bring all of this about. So now you have to think, well, is he? Like, why would he want to create Crisis if he also wants to stop the anti-monitor? Like, where are these pieces of the puzzle exactly fitting? Unless they are going as wild as F to make him something like the precursor to the anti-monitor, but he just hasn't come into that actual fruition yet. I think that'd be crazy, but I can't even, like myself, put all of these pieces of the puzzle together. Of course, in that goodbye scene with Oliver and Thea, I started tearing up when Oliver teared up. I mean, I just can't help it. Like, when there's emotional scenes like this, you just gotta let go. You just gotta let go. If you don't, then I guess you're not human. I'm not sure, but either way, yeah, very sad scene there. But as Oliver put it himself, I don't know, but if he ends up being on the wrong side of this, I'm gonna stop him. So just more food for thought that the monitor may be anti-monitor-esque, even if he's not the anti-monitor. I don't know. Please help. In the comments down below, I need to read your comments. That's what I need right now. Do it. But as I said, everyone, the flash forwards, I said I wasn't going to cover them anymore, and I know 3/4 of you understand that, whether that's the overcentric kind of acting, and I don't know, just the moments like that. I feel like I've articulated it enough in the past, but I know some of you are fans of it, so I was just going to be like, unless there was something of extreme note to talk about, I wasn't really gonna break it down in my breakdown videos. But in this episode, I did start to enjoy them a bit more, just in terms of that the story is getting a bit more beefier in terms of what's going on with JJ and the Deathstroke gang. And, you know, Mia was acting a bit impulsively with just going ahead with a plan despite being outnumbered, and everyone was questioning her, even Zoe, constantly throughout the episode. And then it got to that moment where she got stabbed, and I was just like, wow, I didn't really care about these. I still particularly don't, but when you do something like that, that shows that, you know, holy crap, you've got balls to do some interesting things. And by the way, with my criticisms of the flash forwards, I'm not saying that they can't act, like Catherine can't act or anything, because she clearly can in like a scene like that. It's just, it's quite often very over eccentric. Like, you know that scene where, like, you know, Mia was just like, you know, if, by the way, if you tell anyone about this conversation, and William was just smiling, and then she was just like, it's just that. Do you know what I mean? Nobody does that. Nobody does that in real life. I mean, even if you said that as a joke, you wouldn't just maybe you would pull a face like that if you were really taking the piss and joking, right? But it's just the fact that it's done seriously. That's what I mean about the over-eccentric kind of acting. It's the smoldering smolder. That it's like the Chris Klein acting of The Flash season 5, trying to be serious, when you're acting, but it just comes off so unrealistic. I think that's what it is. I'm not saying these actors can't act. I'm just saying it's moments like that which break my immersion. That's the only way to put it. But that is when, with Connor Hawke going absolutely crazy, literally about to kill JJ because, he snapped because of what happened to Zoe. It was very sad. That is when everything goes white, and then everything goes white for Oliver at the same time. He is summoned back to the bunker of present-day Star City. I can't confirm that, but it's fairly obvious that it's probably present day. You've got Wild Dog, Diggle probably back from the mission of saving Connor Hawke's family. And that is when everyone is in the same room and Oliver looks at Mia at the same time. Now, if you've been paying close attention to Arrow, you would know that we knew Mia would be in present-day scenes in Crisis on Infinite Earths with Oliver. So we knew we were getting that moment as teased by Stephen and Mel. Lots of people asked him, like, what would it be like? What would Oliver react like if Mia met her father in present day? And he just teased little bits like that. So we knew it was coming, but I didn't think it was happening until Crisis on Infinite Earths, or at the very least, an episode, maybe 2 at most, they would incorporate a moment like this. But on a very decent episode of Arrow, but as I said at the beginning of this review, I felt like, I was kind of expecting a little bit of a punch. They delivered hugely. Oh my god, they delivered hugely. And this was such a good scene. Like, William's face was absolutely awe-dropped because Mia's never set eyes on her father, but obviously she's seen pictures and she knows what he looks like. William's looking at his dad again after obviously we know he's spent time with his dad in real life before. But then Oliver's face as well was just like, I can't wait for the moment that picks up after this, because he's just left his family behind, but now he gets to see the woman that his daughter has turned into. And, I'm not all about these flash forward characters, but I have to admit it is very, very compelling to watch a scene of Oliver meeting his daughter, because I'm all about Stephen and Mel. I'm all about Oliver Queen. And now he gets to witness his badass daughter become like this vigilante. I mean, there's going to be all kinds of possibilities with this. He doesn't want her to get involved. I'm sure there's going to be a bit of that. Then there's going to be a bit of pushback from Mia saying, like, I don't care about what you say. Like, I'm going to do this anyway. You haven't been here my whole life, so I'm going to do what I'm going to do, basically. I think it's going to be crazy. I assume this is how they stay in present day as well. I did think at the time, like, why wouldn't they after Crisis just pop back into the future scenes? But I'm guessing no matter what happens with the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor, it means they stay in present day, which, sets them up for the Green Arrow and the Canary show. I'm guessing this means that Zoe is still dead in the future. I do not see why that wouldn't be the case. I didn't take that as time resetting. I just took it as these characters have been plucked from time, so Zoe is still laying there on the floor, lifeless. But yeah, an amazing way to end it. Cannot wait. It's going to be rough for Wild Dog. I wonder if Mia's going to say anything to Wild Dog, like, by the way, like, I just literally came from a moment when your daughter dies. Imagine Wild Dog dealing with that in present day, knowing his daughter's going to die from it. I don't think that's going to happen. But man, what an incredible scene, and I cannot wait for next week's episode. It's just fascinating, so as I said, a way to make me care about these flash forward scenes, because I felt like they weren't doing well by themselves, but bringing them back to present day, and now we have Mia with her father. I'm not saying it's going to get rid of all the over-eccentric, smoldy kind of acting, but it's at least going to make them a lot more interesting for me. Because I guess we're not going to get flash forward scenes now. They're kind of now flash present characters, if that makes sense. But anyway, end of the episode, guys. I really enjoyed it. As I said, it turned into something that I was wanting to be more, and it most certainly went over the top with it. So yeah, loving it. Would love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Join my Discord server, by the way. I love to see more of you guys join there. We're getting quite a lot of members now, so talk about Arrow with me there, especially this latest episode. Link to that is on the top pinned comment. So if you got this far, definitely do that. And especially if you got this far, why not click the like button, as it really does show your support for the Arrow content. I really appreciate each and every one of you that do that. Check out the last couple of videos that I uploaded. As I said, my Flash video and review for episode 4 is up right now. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you vigilantes in the next video. Goodbye.